And 141 here, otherwise known as Tracy Hand. How's it going? I gotta turn my phones down. I forgot to turn my phones down, and that's my understanding is that's rude. Um, and I don't want to be rude. Um, so, Adrenaline Junkie has a video. I wonder. I wonder. Um, let's see. Let's just mute everything on this phone down. Um, so that should be interesting. Hey, Jules Gardening Tips, how's it going? Little House in the Big Woods, Melissa, how's it going? Remy is in the background. He's got family that's taken off. He wants to say goodbye, and then he'll be on. Welcome everybody to the Thursday night live stream. Wow, we have had some really cool stuff happen on the homestead the last couple weeks. I refinanced the mortgage that was about to hit balloon payments shortly. And so I'm going to be putting up a barn. And then I went ahead, and since I was completely out of debt other than the mortgage, and you can't let that happen, I went ahead and bought a $30,000 tractor. But it's well worth it. I've had it for almost 2 weeks now, and it is well worth it. It's a Branson 2515, 25 horsepower tractor, and man, it is cutting through everything. Getting ready for another reenactment. What exactly are you reenacting? Is this like a Civil War reenactment, or I think those are cool to remember the various things that happened in our history. History is important because those who don't remember history are doomed to repeat it. That is why I am so against tearing down monuments and Civil War. Nice. Yeah, guys, if you ever get a chance to go to something like that, it is really cool. The people who volunteer and who do those things are very dedicated, and they really just crank it up there with the authenticity. It is very worth going. I've been to, well, it was a thing at I can't remember, the fort in Rome. Fort Stanwix had a thing that I saw when I was in school, I think it was. But it was just awesome. But yeah, so I have been using the tractor to clear land for I have to extend the driveway, the gravel driveway, and I'm gonna make it loop around because otherwise I won't be able to get cement trucks in there and stuff. And you cannot drive on this clay for the Tug Hill clay. You can't drive on it for much of the year. I mean, if it's wet, you're looking for trouble if you try to drive on it. The cat's attacking an empty bottle. Go help your brother. He got down. But so I have been Trevor came down and helped me cut a bunch of trees. And I've been cleaning up with that and moving it. The grapple, guys, I never liked cutting wood on a pile because, well, my brother-in-law Randy You never get out of this family, Randy. Sorry. My brother-in-law Randy was cutting wood on the pile, and the log above it came down and pinned his hand to the muffler of the chainsaw, and he could not pull his hand out until the guy came with the skidder and was able to pick the log off his hand. It crushed his hand, but now he's got a big patch of skin from his forearm on his palm. Yeah. And it is, uh, it's really weird, but I couldn't imagine. So I've always been weary of cutting on piles because they can be dangerous. And now with this grapple, we don't have to. I can literally pick the log up, move it to where we want the pile of blocks for splitting or whatever. And one guy can start at one end and the other at the other end, and just zip, zap, zip, start cutting down to the grapple. You drop that on the block of wood so it's not what you drop what's left on the block of woods so that it's not on the ground, and cut it in half or whatever, and that log's done. It really, really more efficient than one guy cutting on either side of the pile. Dangerous, but then you have to stop at some point and move the blocks out of your way, unless you have somebody, that third man, cutting or moving the blocks, and it's really hard for them to keep up with two people. And so this will make the work lighter and also faster and safer. And I like that. The box blade is working awesome. I did a little project out here. We had a trench going that where the water line going from the well into the house had sunk in, and I was able to fill that with stone because it was only like maybe 6 or 8 inches at the deepest part, and then I box bladed it to level it out real nice, and then I took topsoil and manure from the topsoil manure pile and put that on there and graded that out. I need to put another load because you can still see some of the rocks, and I want to get it to I believe it's really close already to a mowable surface, but I want to get it to a nice finished mowable surface so grass can grow and all that. I had to move my compost pile. I had the 2-bin compost pile made out of pallets, and I had to move that so I could access it with the tractor. That was not fun because I did the tractor. Hey, Dave. Oh yes, we're putting her to use. But now I've got that moved. I built a stall with the pallets just to hold it up, and the pallets also let air into the manure, and I can now stir my manure or my compost, sorry. Well, most of the compost is either grass clippings, weeds from the garden, or chicken manure and wood chips that come from the chicken coop. So I can now stir that in 30 seconds, a couple minutes at least with the bucket, and that makes it so easy. Yes. I did make a wood chipper video. Welcome, Marcus Mustard. Yes, I made a wood chipping video just recently. There was one on clearing brush because I'm clearing out for a new barn and just getting ready for that. And I use the wood chips in my garden. I do the back to Eden garden method ish. It's really tough because I have clay soil, but I'm building the soil with the wood chips and stuff. So I'm making my own wood chips with the wood chipper. So that's probably one where you saw it. And then there was a video where I did a review of the Predator wood wood chipper. Yeah. Yeah, mine, I think I've had mine for 2.5 years also, and it is running great. Uh I have had some serious wood go through it, uh, and it is just really nice to make those chips and the leaf litter. When I get chips from the arborists, um, they'll dump chips and stuff, and sometimes they're too big for what I want. I want to be able to kneel down in my garden and have it soft so I can run them through my chipper again. John Van Loo in the house. How's it going? Oh, Remy's back. Are you ready? Sorry.
Oh yeah, I've been here for about 6, 7 minutes.
I'm sorry, man.
No worries. I didn't even want to join for a second there. I was listening to you and I didn't want to cut you off.
Yeah. Yeah, Melissa. The power companies, if I see, I used to have cards made up, business cards that had uh who I was and my address on them, and then on back I would draw a map of how to get to my house from the main highways. And if I saw somebody, uh tree services taking trees down when I was in town, I would hand those cards to the head guy and tell him, listen, I'll take all you can give. I also registered for chip drop, but that has been, I want to say, pretty much 6 months, and I don't think any of the arborists in this area uh, are signed up for chip drop. But if you are in an area where they have that, that would be great to have them just bring it as much as they need, because you can go through some chips quick, and if not, you can have a pile there composting. Um, but yeah, it's awesome when you can get stuff like that for free, and it just it keeps fertilizing your garden all the way through. Um, so
I have access to some and I need to go get it next year. Might be too late this year. The weeds are everywhere, but hopefully in the spring I'll go get some and the
yeah.
weeds under control.
Well, yeah, because as soon as you, which I do a no-till version of gardening, but as soon as you till, you notice almost as soon as you till, the weeds start trying. Whether you, God tries to cover that earth back up, and that's one thing. We're depleting so much of our topsoil in America with the farming, because we have acres and acres of bare land, and we put chemical fertilizers and stuff like that on it, and pesticides and herbicides, uh, because nature wants to cover that. Uh, and with the wood chips, it's covered just like in the woods, just like nature does it. And if you put them on in the fall, when the same time God uh, God fertilizes in the fall with the fall leaves coming down, um, and it soaks in. Wood chip trails, yeah, you can go over your trails with wood chips. They will grow weeds though. Let me tell you, because all the small stuff and the leaves and everything will
Yeah,
decompose and make dirt. It's a nice rich dirt, but weeds love it. You gotta take a drink real quick.
no worries. It was a long week. I'm glad it's almost done.
Yeah, yeah, it is. I had a friend of mine ask me about why I'm chipping my branches instead of just taking the tractor, putting them in a pile, and uh, and then chipping them later, or just letting them decompose in a pile. And the reason is I want the leaves, the green leaves, man, that chlorophyll and the nutrients in those leaves. When you put them through the chipper and it gets mixed in there, that gives all those nutrients that can then seep into the soil. Um, Whereas a branch pile, I got branch piles of just dead branches, and that'll be great, but I might as well, go get a load of cheap bark mulch, which does nothing for nutrients.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, we have been tearing at it. We've got Trevor's footers dug. Um, and we priced our trusses. Trevor told me, he said, "Wow, Tracy," he says, "they've gone up a lot." They estimated him over $7,000 for his trusses, and he's only doing, I think he's doing. Why do I want to say 29 by 32 or something like that? I'm doing 24 by 24, and I got a from Low. I went to Lowe's just to see what they would charge, and I got a $6,800 estimate just for trusses.
Whoa.
The good thing is I got blueprints with my estimate. I think I'm going to build it Trevor's way. And according, because Trevor's going to get blueprints. He's paying an engineer, so he'll have the stamp blueprints, and we'll just scale that slightly down to size. I
Mm-hmm.
might focus. I might focus on running some leaves through the top hopper. Hopefully, I can avoid. Yeah, yeah. I was doing that today, and when a rock comes out of that sucker, it comes out. So yeah, be careful with the rocks through the top hopper. Um, let's see. We don't have leaves, only branches, pine cones, and pine needles. If you have blueberry plants, see that's the thing. I don't. Are you supposed to be on the table? And now you smell like that flea stuff. Ah, claws. Oh,
It's not the cat with the fleas, isn't is he?
he shouldn't have it anymore because that's all I can smell is you can see the stuff on his back where I put it in his. Why are you on the table, handsome? Hmm? You're not supposed to be on the table, boy. Okay, I'm gonna put you down. Daddy's busy. You can be a TV star next week.
Watch him come.
Um, what did your farm do this week?
Well, I work full time, so from 8 to 4, I'm at work, and then I come back home, and it's the gardening started producing, so it's been steady harvest pretty much every day. I get back, like I go to work, and as soon as work is done, I drive directly to the community garden where I harvest whatever I can harvest there, and then on my way back, I stop at my farm to feed the animals and make sure everything is okay and give them water and all that stuff. And then I come back home, and when I get back home, I got the rabbits to feed, a few chickens, and I still have my garden here to take care as well. So it's pretty much nonstop all the time. Plus, I'm trying to do some videos in between, but I can't. There's always one day where it's just like whatever. Like I'm not gonna have a video up today. Like it's just it.
Yeah, Wednesday I postponed or canceled the video release for my vacation video, the Hatfield McCoy trail trip, um, because I sat down to work on it, and there is just so much footage there, and my mind kept going out to stuff I needed to be doing out there, so I ended up going out and doing stuff outside. Um, but But yeah, it is tough. I got footage from the tractor. I mounted one of my uh, action cameras up on the roll bar thing there. That's a technical term, but on the roll bar, and so I've got a lot of what do you call it? Footage from that. Ooh, wow, blueberries will be ripe soon. Yeah, I'm not getting any blueberries yet from my plants, which my plants are young and I have real clay soil. I did buy some uh, natural stuff. Uh, it's supposed to be organic, which means very little nowadays. But
Yeah, unfortunately.
to raise the acidity in the soil for my blueberries, but uh, two plants I just planted this year, and then two plants are man, they're this is their second year. Um, I still haven't managed to get I got a pear tree and an apple tree that are still in pots for oh my goodness, it's got to be 2 years now that I need to get in the ground. I just don't know where I want to put them. Um, but then I went to town today. Believe it or not, I am starting to prepare for the 50-hour maintenance of my tractor. At 50 hours, you got to replace the engine oil, the engine filter, the hydraulic oil, the hydraulic filter,
Hmm.
all that stuff.
Already at 50. Wow.
Well, I'm right now. I'm at 31,
Okay.
31 hours. Um, but yeah, that uh,
You're pushing the machine. Keep
yeah,
pushing.
yeah, we're working it. See, do you like Harbor Freight? Yeah, I love Harbor Freight. Harbor Freight is I don't know if do you have Harbor Freight in Canada, Remy?
Well, not around me anyway. Never heard of it.
Um, it's a tool store,
Okay.
and it is uh, cheaper tools, but some of them are for the price of it. I bought a Sawzall for $20, and it's been going for I'm gonna say 8 or 9 months now because I Trevor borrowed his Sawzall back from me, so I needed a Sawzall, so I went and bought one for $20, and it's working great for what I need.
Nice.
Um, but they have all sorts of like Bauer um, toolkit, the Predator, uh, the Predator generators, the which I have a 2,000 watt and a 9,000 watt Predator generator. I have the Predator wood chipper. I have a Predator gasoline powered water pump uh, with the 1 inch. It's just an awesome place to go, and you can. I just put a Harbor Freight winch on the four wheeler. Um, yeah, it's not as big as the big box stores, but there's a huge selection, and you got to be careful, and sometimes it bites you. Trevor bought it's an angle cutter. It's got the vibrating blade that you can put right down up against the floor and like
Okay.
cut uh and he bought one of those for I think it was $25, and he took it home and it died on him. It just stopped working. He didn't even finish his project. Then he sent his wife to Walmart. She picked him up one, and it's working to this day. So it kind of depends.
On what you need.
Yeah, on what you need. But a lot of these tools are made. Uh, they're made at the same factory. It's like when I worked at the flour mill, we made our brand was Bessie pastry flour, but we also made New Hope Mills flour for their pancake mix. We made so many of the different ones. Um, my boy like watching your winch video. He wants one for his for. I tell you, um, I for the work that I do, for the most part, skidding logs and stuff like that, I've never really needed a winch, but I had to get a winch for either the truck or the four wheeler. This way, if I do get the tractor stuck, I will have something that'll just be able, and it's got the remote where I can get on the tractor and work the winch with the wireless remote. Um,
Cool.
put the four wheeler up against a tree or something so it won't, because a lot of times in the winter when you're stuck, all you need is that little bit of help for the tires,
Hmm.
uh, just until they can get a grip again. So
Sometimes
yeah,
it feels like you're just floating. Just a
yeah,
little tiny push would get you going. Yeah.
yeah. um, and now with me being alone, it used to be I could go have Wendy get in the car, or back when we had a van, we could get in a van and just give me that little bit of tension to pull me out when we lived in Port Leyden, and even up here. She would get on. I'd put her in the truck, uh, and then I would pull with the wheeler, just a regular toe strap, and it would be enough to pull me out from being um, from being stuck. Sometimes I was just stuck too bad. Yeah, I'm in North Wisconsin. Nice summers, but pretty cold winter. Yeah.
I don't think you know cold.
Hmm.
In my part of the country here in Canada, I'm in northern New Brunswick. The winters are awful. We we get snow at the end of October and it lasts until beginning of May easily. We'll get storms until the end of April. That's insane.
Yeah. Well, you're kind of coastal waters, uh,
Yeah,
coastal one too.
there's a
So that,
there's a current passing by that makes the whole area a little like we have our little own climate here,
nice.
microclimate.
Yeah, Melissa, I got hold of the Branson dealer today, and I forgot to ask about my snow pusher. I got a I got a snow pusher that to push snow with, and they haven't delivered that yet, which I'm not in a hurry for it. So it kind of just it, I it kind of just be in the way right now. Yeah, New Brunswick. That's um but yeah, it is just amazing the stuff that goes on this time of year on the homestead, because you got harvest, you've got
Yeah.
animals, um, you've got starting to get ready for next year. You're like I stirred the compost. Well, I had it worked out because I had to move the compost pile, but let's see. I put down grass seed in the winter, and it came in pretty good the next spring. Snow melt helped germinate. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. The I forget what they call it. It's frost sowing, isn't it? Something like that. Um, but yeah, that is a very good way to plant grass. Um, But I don't know, man. I was looking at a picture that I had taken several years ago. It was a meme, and everything that I put, every picture on that I take on my phone comes up on my Google. It stores it on my Google account, and um, I looked and it said red. It's got a picture, know your elderberries, and it's got a picture of red elderberry with a poison sign next to it. And then the regular elderberry and stuff. And I believe that's what my the elderberry that I've got growing wild here is, which I know a lot of the elderberries you have to boil before you can use, um, because they've got stuff in them. Uh, but American elderberry, I think you can eat right off the vine. Um, oh yeah, in that acidic soil with all the pine trees, moss is horrible.
Yeah.
I have moss in my yard. Uh, it's out there, and I got some pretty decent sized areas of it. But when I look at the yard, it's green, so I don't really complain about it. It's green and it's easy to keep trimmed. Our elderberry's not ripe yet. I had elderberries. They were green out on a tree out here, and I'm not sure. I haven't looked at them in the last few days. They weren't ready the last time I looked at them. They weren't even starting to turn color. But I know if they're on the tree and they start turning color, the birds will strip them right off. They'll clean you out. So I'm hoping I haven't missed that. I've got beans I've got to harvest, green beans, and carrots. When do you harvest your carrots, Remy? When they start falling over, or
Well, I always wait until like the longest I can wait. Last year, I even left a couple in the ground. Unfortunately, in the spring, there was some rodents problem that they went through the carrots. I still had a few, like I was still able to harvest about 6 pounds, but I mean, it was just like a meal or two.
right?
Um, I don't think there's a definite timeline where you can harvest your carrots. It's just a matter of do you like them the size they are now, or you want to wait a little bit longer because even if it's freezing, the carrot is still going to be in the soil and still going to keep on growing. Well, it's not going to grow when it freezes, but I mean,
Right.
it's going to grow until it freezes,
And
and it's
then
still going
it'll,
to be good at that point.
yeah. See, mine, I cut 55-gallon barrel in thirds, and I filled it with the topsoil and planted them in the barrels. Um, but last I looked at them was a few weeks ago, actually. I pulled one or two, and oh, they tasted delicious, but they were 4 inches, 5 inches long, and it was. I started wondering, okay, when am I supposed to pull these? Is there a time limit? But
Or you could even leave them in the soil. Like if you had them in a bucket or something, you could bring them inside and keep
yeah,
them in there for as long as you want.
yeah.
Because they're biannual plants. So in theory, if you leave them in the soil, the next spring they're going to keep on growing, and that's when you're going to get your seeds.
I know Starry Hilder. She used to have a homesteading channel. I think she still has a channel on YouTube. Um, but they would take their potatoes and their carrots, and they had this. Her husband had a sawmill, and they would take and make a huge mound of sawdust, and then they would bury their carrots. They would like put them in layers in that pile, And then when they wanted, they were in the mountains, so they got snow, but they didn't get a lot of snow the way where they were situated. And when she needed carrots for cooking or potatoes or whatever, she would go out and dig them out. The birds, that reminds me of the frost sowing help keep birds from eating the grass seed. Yeah. 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 That is nice. You don't really have to worry so much about covering it with hay or anything like that. Um, my grandpa used to bury coolers in the ground. Yeah, yeah. Anything to keep them cool. We had spaghetti squash. One of the reasons I like spaghetti squash so much is we had spaghetti squash that lasted. We harvested them in probably late September or October, and we still had spaghetti squash that was good in the pantry in February or March.
Nice.
So they kept for a long time, and that's what I'm really looking for is stuff that's going to keep over time. Uh, it's hard because I started a diet, believe it or not, but I I hit 230 pounds, and I said I got to do something. Um, and it's the intermittent fasting, um, where I can eat between nine. Well, I started off, I could eat between 9 and 5, but then all I could have was water and like turmeric water or lemon water uh, between 5 p.m. and 9 a.m. But then at 9 a.m., I could eat anything I wanted. Now I'm doing it where I can eat for 6 hours between 9 and 3, and then 18 hours of fasting. And I got to tell you, it's where I'm down to 100 or yeah, 100. I'm down to 119 pounds. I'm down to 219 pounds, and it's worked really good. Remy, did you harvest your rabbits yet?
I have a little tiny issue with that because the babies that I had back in May, was it April or May? They're still too small. But that's what I was telling my daughter just before I came on this live is I'm gonna have to harvest a couple of the older ones. They're not gonna be as tender and they're probably not gonna be as good. But there's a way to cook them that they will taste pretty much just like chicken. And yeah, I will harvest a few of the older ones and keep the younger ones. The thing is, I don't have enough cages. If I had more cages, I mean, rabbits don't cost anything to raise. Basically, you buy a bale of hay for like $5, and you can give them hay, and that will cut on the feed very, very much. So, like right now, I have about give or take 20 rabbits, and I go through one bag of feed pretty much around every second week, every 3 weeks, maybe every second weeks. And I buy a bale of hay like maybe once a month, every second month. Yeah, you cook them slow. That's the thing. Last time, that's what I did. They were frozen. They were in the freezer, frozen. I got them out, put them in the oven for like 3 hours at the lowest possible temperature, and then I put them on a barbecue for the last hour, very, very low temperature, and it was so good.
Wow. Bale of hay, $20. Yeah.
Oh,
Prices are going up big time. Uh, I don't know. I guys, it's not going to get any easier or any cheaper. I've got to turn this other light on here. I probably should have done that. And look at that. It didn't help much at all.
nope, you still got the same face.
Yeah. But that was a good bird. But yeah, prices are going up and they're not going to get any cheaper. I'm thinking of seeing if I can buy like a pound or 2 pound sack of winter wheat from the Amish. Uh, they are doing crop rotation this year. They had, I believe it's just winter wheat or as a oh, this chair is driving me nuts. Um, as a cover crop, and I'd like to get some seeds because I want to plant some either wheat or more corn or something like that for uh, just for a grain to grind for flour and stuff like that. Because as times get harder, we're going to find ourselves getting into the pantry more, which you should be using from your pantry, using and replacing constantly. But there's going to come a point where,
We might as well to
yeah.
keep it for as long as we can. Yeah.
Now, with wild rabbits, the varying hair that we have up here, we always, my Uncle Ronnie used to say you braise them before you cook them and put them in stew and stuff. And we tried it, and it was really good. Um, but I don't know. Tame rabbits are probably quite different than hare. Um, yeah, neither do I. I'm once I get the barn, I want to get a couple rabbits. Um, it is just a food source, a fur source, a material source. You know, there's just so much that rabbits offer. Uh, your you uh, are you saying your you died?
It's due next month.
Oh, it's due next month. Okay. Okay. Well, awesome. Well, here's to you. And Remy, I need to apologize to you too.
Why?
I did not realize until that night that I had been wearing that shirt. I wanted I wanted to make a short video, and I said, "Yeah, I'll wear the shirt," you know. And then I made the video, and I started moving on to other stuff and making more videos and stuff, and I'm like, "Oh my goodness!" When so I
Okay.
apologize.
It was a gift from Annie.
You know.
It was on her live stream.
Yes, I finally got Annie's size. Is Annie in here today? I don't think Annie's in here tonight.
No, she's always struggling around this time.
Yeah,
Kids.
yeah. But I finally nailed her down to what size she wanted because she was bouncing back and forth on the size. Um, Darren is I think he wants the Homestead while it's still legal shirt, sweatshirt he's got coming. Um,
Just waiting for my choices, my picks. Well, my daughter's picks.
yeah,
She picked something. I left your Redbubble shop open, and I told her go downstairs, go on the computer. What you see there is what you can get. And then she left, came back downstairs, and I looked at the computer, and it was like a shirt from someone I don't even know, like someone else. It's like it's not a store. You can't just go and order anything. Like it's not gonna pay for someone else. He's giving you something from his own store. So she's like, well, I don't know where to go. Well, it's there. Just go select a design, and from there we'll pick a shirt.
yeah. There's all sorts of weird shirts. I would go to Creative Fabrica, and they would give free designs and stuff, and I would take and I've got uh, an editor, a designer, and I would use that and change them up. So yeah, there's like skateboarding monkeys and there's some weird stuff in there that has nothing to do with homesteading. There's political stuff in there. There's Christian stuff in there. There's ATV, UTV, homesteading, chicken stuff. I made a new chicken one, um, uh, which I've got to be careful because I don't wanna violate any copyright or trademark rules. Um, but I was in Tractor Supply and I saw a plaque and it said, "Yep, I talk to my chickens. Sometimes I need expert advice." And so I made a shirt like that. Oh, thank you, Remy. I
Bonfire.
haven't I haven't done Redbubble. I have made some from Bonfire. I don't know what Bonfire is. Um,
Google again.
yeah, absolutely. I know, Remy, your spread shop line is your merch is showing up under your videos now. That's
Yep.
pretty cool.
Yeah, you need to. At first, I thought it was you needed to have at least 1,000 subscribers. No, I think it was 10,000 subscribers at some point,
Yeah,
and then they brought it down to 1,000. You need to be monetized, basically.
yeah.
But I don't know. I haven't sold anything from there yet. I keep selling stuff from Redbubble, so I don't know if YouTube keeps a little share on it or it's only spread shop or.
Well, I'm sure YouTube gets a cut. But yeah, Redbubble every once or twice a month I'll get an email saying, somebody
Sold some, bought
bought a
something.
shirt. Um
That's cool.
uh and my books, right now I've sold in this last month I've sold 3. It's the holiday planners to help people schedule for they're like, I think it's got Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's, and you can plan out who's bringing what and who's coming and all this other stuff on it. And I'm selling quite a few of those, 2 or 3 a month of them. Um, and I mean that's like $6. I think I make like $2, $2 or $3 off each one. Um, yeah, Tractor Supply is awesome. We just got, I say just, it's probably 2 or 3 years ago, or 3 or 4 years ago, in Rome, Runnings moved in, and they are a big box store, but they are Tractor Supply, Cabela's, Gander Mountain, and uh, not quite Harbor Freight. They're kind of like Lowe's, I guess, too, all mixed into one. You can buy your guns and ammo, your archery supplies, your work clothes, your play clothes, uh, get stuff for your horses and your pigs and your chickens and feed and tools and piping supply, plumbing supplies, all this other stuff, all in one shot. Canning supplies. I know somebody said that they were having a hard time finding quart jars. Um, and you might have to go online. I think Layman's has them now, and I know Walmart has been having a lot of them on the shelves in my local Walmart. But when they started getting hard to come by, Wendy and I just started buying them. If we saw them, we'd buy them. And now I have more than I need. But
Well,
um,
that's a good thing.
yeah, better to have more than I need than not enough. Better to need them and not, or have them and not need them, than need them and not have them.
Totally.
But oh, So, have you been fishing lately?
Not the past week, but the previous week, yes, and it's been insane. I don't know. A friend of mine brought me with them on a boat, and we're allowed three striped bass each and 20 mackerels. I caught a striped bass and my 20 mackerels. And the thing is, striped bass we're allowed to fish them for, well, we've been allowed to fish them for the past 5 years, I think. And beside the first year, I think I've only had like two or three total, like in the past 4 or 5 years. And to catch one, that was my second one this year. It was like, okay, like this is my best year so far with one striped bass. And then the following Saturday, 2 days later, I had another friend that was going to bring me and two more friends on the boat again. And he didn't want to fish. So he's like, okay, well, I'll fish, but whatever I catch, I'm going to leave it to you guys.
Mhm.
So I ended up with my tree striped bass, which is pretty cool because, once again, like I never catch any, and my 20 mackerels again. Um, the next day, same thing happened. I picked up Anthony. Anthony came with me, so we were allowed six striped bass, and we caught our six striped bass. It was just one after another. We had to stop, and we had to release them, and we had to, like, I mean, it was just like, whoa, one after another. Mackerel was the same thing, one after another.
Nice.
Like I've never seen that. It was put the line in the water, wait 5 minutes, check your bait, and chances were that you would have a striped bass on your line just waiting for you to hold it in.
Nice. The only place I've seen, I we have black bass, the largemouth, and we have smallmouth. Um, but the only place I've ever seen striped bass served is in the higher echelon restaurants and stuff. Um,
Yeah, I heard it was a pretty expensive fish. I
yeah,
think it sells for like $9.99 a pound
yeah,
for filet there. It's pretty crazy.
yeah.
And I was telling that to my cousin there. I'm like, do you have any idea how much it sells for? So I have close to 100 pound of striped bass food here. Um, I'm allowed to have I'm allowed to fish three per day, and I'm allowed to have three in possession, but I'm allowed to give some to my family members. At least that's what I was told by Fish and Ocean.
Mhm.
Um, so I'm allowed to fish three today, give it to my son, go again tomorrow for three more, give it to my other son, go the next day for three more, and so on. So by having five kids, it allows me to have 21 fish in my freezer.
Oh, nice.
And if I eat some, I'm allowed to go again. And we've already eaten three of them. So
Yeah. Um, yeah, that's something that I used to watch that Northwoods Law. And then you got the Texas game wardens and stuff like that, and they would get warrants to go in and check people's freezers and stuff. And I'm like, man, oh man, check somebody's freezer. That's pretty wild. I get mad. Um, our town, uh, this for surveying purposes, to adjust our taxes, they took drones and flew over everybody's land, everybody's property. So they basically, from the air, searched our properties without a warrant or not being suspected of a crime or anything. They searched our properties. That bugs me because the Fourth Amendment is an important amendment. Um, which, if I see the drone out there, I got two options. I can shoot it down, which would get me in trouble, or I'll just go out there and lay down on the ground naked and just wave. They'll
it
Whoever's
makes me
watching the screen at that moment will never fly over my property again.
it makes me wonder, like I know the laws are kind of weird because you would be allowed to go in a plane, but then again, you wouldn't be allowed to see on the ground. Like you can't see way down. So what's the height that you can go legally? That makes me wonder because if I was between some gates in a pool, for example, because we here in Canada, at least in my village, we need to have fencing all around the pool. But I could be naked, getting some sun, and if someone drives a drone over my property, like you just lost your privacy, and that's
Yeah.
nobody's business what I'm doing on my property, right? So
Yeah.
I don't know where people would draw the line. Like if I see a drone coming on my property and I have a chance to shoot it, it's going down.
Yeah. Mike Rowe, I was telling Trevor, if I happen to see a drone flying over my land, I'd shoot it down. I guess Mike Rowe got in big trouble. You ever see the show Dirty Jobs?
Rings a bell, but I don't think I've ever seen him.
He would go around doing the jobs, sewer plant worker and picking mucky ducks or something. Um, but somebody was flying. I think it was paparazzi was flying a drone over his house, and he shot it down. And he paid some serious fines for that.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
because you, it's weird because they're using a loophole. Especially with this, with like when the cops flew over, and took pictures of my land. They were looking for marijuana. They saw the color that represented marijuana in my peppers because I had just sprayed them with Epsom salt and water, so they were real dark green. And so they saw that color. So next thing I know, I'm getting a knock on my door from the cops. They basically raided me. We got a good laugh out of it. It was the pepper plants and stuff, um, but they literally searched my property without me having been suspected of committing a crime. Um, they used that picture to get a search warrant so that they could search my property. Well, how is that probable cause? And they're like, well, if it's open and able to be seen, like if a cop comes in your house, most Second Amendment type lawyers, gun defense lawyers, will tell you don't let the cops in your house, because if they see an infraction, like say I don't know, say I come in from working outside, I got an appointment in the afternoon, so I'm gonna take a shower, so I take my pistol off and set it on the counter, and they see that gives them probable cause to search my house. That can give them, there was a gun that was not stored properly, even though it was for 10 minutes while I was in the shower.
Yeah.
But they say don't let them in your house. Be polite, be courteous. But because once they have probable cause, then they can go get a warrant. And certain probable causes, like if they suspect somebody that there's something illegal going on inside at that moment, they can actually come in your house. But it I just have a great respect for law enforcement. I have a greater respect for the Constitution, and a lot of the laws that are being created um, go against the Constitution. And we just don't have the money. The average person has nowhere near the money. It costs 7,000, I think it was $7,000 to prepare a brief for your lawyer to prepare a brief to take to the Supreme Court to see, so that the Supreme Court can look at it and see if they want to hear your arguments or not. $7,000. I can't afford that.
We live in
So
a world where the rich people runs.
yeah. Yeah.
And see, like you see, you have respect for law enforcement, and that's fine. Like I've had so many issues with them. Like not even me personally, me needing them and
Mhm.
them basically laughing at me. So I kind of lost respect for them at some point. But I can only imagine having young kids in my house, and the cops will come over and tell me that I have something illegal coming in like happening in my house, and they would need to search, only to find out that they thought it was marijuana. It would have been pepper plants. Like you
Yeah.
could scare the kids. Like you laughed at it because it was like it didn't do any damage, but
Right.
who knows? You could have had your nephew with you for the weekend, and you could be traumatized today. Like you don't know. Like
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
make like mistakes happen. I get it,
Yeah.
but people have to pay for their mistakes. That's the way society runs, right? So
Right.
if I work at the hospital, if I make a mistake, I kill a patient, I might lose my job. Maybe I won't, but I'll have to live with it for the rest of my life. Yeah, it could
Well,
have been
yeah.
a lot more serious.
Yeah. I even told them, I said, listen, guys, I said, you guys can search my entire property. I said, I don't have any pot at all. Um, I said, there's bees in those boxes over there, and there's bees in that tree there, but you're welcome to search them. And they said, no, we don't need to search them. And uh, my friend was like, well, how do you know your neighbors? Because we had just gotten new neighbors, and it was before I knew them. Um, that He said, how do you know your neighbors didn't plant pot on your land? He says, then you let them search, and then all of a sudden you get caught with marijuana growing on your land. You didn't grow it. Um, yeah, and that is sad, Melissa. That the cops, they see so much that these little things. Well, we that things that are big to us are little to them, and sometimes I think they get um seared to like when you sear a steak so that it's got the rough exterior on the outside, but to hold the juices in, it doesn't let stuff in. I'm not explaining that right, but they get immune to
To the
to
small things, yeah.
small the things,
But
oh, okay, nobody was hurt here, so I'll take a report and yada yada yada. Um,
sometimes it was just be a phone call, show that you're actually there for a person. For what happened to me was I received death threats, and the cops came over and said, "Well, everybody does that. We can't take that seriously. Do you know how many people do death threats around here?" I'm like, "Well, do you know? Like he literally said he was going to kill me. Like he said, if I see you, I'm going to kill you. We're not going to do anything about that." So it kind of stayed that way. A few months later, it comes over my property and attacks me. The cops came over. Well, he didn't really hurt you. Your brother threw a rock on his car. We can't really do anything because if we charge him, we have to charge your brother for throwing a rock on his car. I'm like, he's not supposed to be on my property. The first time I called them saying that he threatened to kill me, they should have just called him and say, okay, look,
Stay
I don't
away.
know who does what because apparently he told the cops that I was the wrong one. Don't go on his property and he won't go on yours. Every time something happened, it was on my property. I was trying to defend myself. I'm like, if he was really scared of me, do you think he would come over to my property and start harassing me? Every single time he comes here, I have to call the cops. I don't
Yeah.
go at his place because I'm afraid of him. I'm afraid of what he might do. And that's just a kind of example that it started small. They could have just given him a call and say, look,
Yeah.
there's something going on. We don't know who to believe, but stay home. He's going to stay home and don't talk to each other. It would have been done. Then
Yeah.
if he goes and if I go on his property, then I'm in trouble because he told me not to go there. And if he comes on my property, he's in trouble because they told him not to come over here. You know what I mean? But they
Yeah.
didn't do anything. And then it escalated and one thing led to another. And that's what happened.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to do anything because apparently my brother threw a rock on his car, but he wasn't supposed to be in my place. There was a court order saying that it wasn't supposed to come here.
Yeah. It's hard because I don't know. I have a great respect for law enforcement. Now, not all officers
Good and
uh,
not all
are
bad.
good, and yeah, and not all of them are bad. I've been really lucky in the ones I've dealt with, but when you have a situation like that where they can't figure out what's going on, they need to put more resources into it and say, okay, we need to find out what's actually going wrong. Um, and instead of just filing the report and forgetting, unfortunately, they're so uh, overwhelmed with the stuff they have to take care of because in the United States there's been a big movement to defund the police and all that. Um, at the same here, they told me I couldn't do anything if this person was killing my animals. I could call them. Uh, I hate to tell you this. I will defend my animals.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
uh, that I mean, I understand, Melissa. In your situation, it's tough. Um, listen, I'm pretty sure Wendy already has several holes out in the woods dug for my body, and if it'll fit my body, it'll fit somebody who's killing my animals. I shouldn't say that. I'm joking. I never want to hurt anyone. Uh,
No, but
but
still, you gotta defend your stuff.
absolutely.
Someone comes over here try to kill my animals, I'm gonna try to stop them.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to stop them. The the Constitution reigns free on my property. I can't control somebody else's property, but on my property, I'm going to do my best to uphold the Constitution. If you are destroying property, I'm going to hurt you or do my best to. Um,
That's one thing you guys have that we don't have here in Canada. Someone comes on my property with a gun and try to kill me. The only thing I can do is try to remove the gun from that person's hands.
wow.
Unless they shoot. If they shoot, then I'm allowed to defend myself and shoot back. But then there's gonna be the thing where, well, if you went over on your property, why didn't you call the cops? Or why did you have a gun in your hand? And there's always that little loophole somewhere that they're gonna try to hurt you with.
Yeah.
So,
Eh,
like, I mean, I shouldn't say that either, but I keep telling my friends, like, the best thing here in Canada is just get rid of the body.
yeah.
Just don't get caught.
Um,
I mean, it's not something to say, but
no,
my
it's something.
property, trying
No,
to hurt my family.
yeah, nobody wants to hurt another human being. That uh, Desert Storm taught me that wasn't where it was at. Um, Shooting in the air in New York State, a warning shot can be considered menacing. They can call the cops and have you arrested and your guns taken away.
See,
Um, in 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 New York, we have what's called the modified castle law. Now I'm out here in the bushes. People hear me shooting all the time, whether it's at chipmunks or targets or guinea hen, whatever. But but the modified castle law states that if someone is in your house with a gun, you have to try in order to be okay with self-defense, you have to try to get away. Okay. Um, you even in your house, which the castle law, the unmodified castle law, the way it's supposed to be is if someone's in your house, there is no safer place than your house. If someone chases you back to your house and they get in your house, the castle law says you can defend yourself with deadly force because there's nowhere safer to run than your house. With the modified castle law, you still have an obligation to try to escape. It's ridiculous. I
Yes.
always I always told Wendy, um, you know, well, I'm not going to say what I always told Wendy. Because then, with my luck, something will happen and they'll say, "Hey, we got it on video. I always told Wendy." Um, but yeah, it is ridiculous that the guy that uh the the guy that stopped, there was a mall shooting, an active shooter in a mall. This guy, they had just enacted a law in that state, I forget which state it was, uh, that constitutional carry. Um, Previously, it said that you could not carry um, a firearm. Even if you had a permit, you could not carry a firearm into the mall because there were posted no firearms sign. It was a gun-free zone. This guy, because of the constitutional carry law that had just passed, took his gun in, and it was concealed. And a guy came in and started shooting from 40 yards with a pistol. He fired 10 rounds. He braced himself on a column, fired 10 rounds, hit the bad guy with 8 of them. That is phenomenal, phenomenal shooting at 40 yards with a handgun. 25 is about my limit. And then I'm not even great at that. Well, who am I kidding? I'm not even great at 10. I haven't practiced with I can't afford ammo. But um and there were people that were calling for the arrest of the Good Samaritan who saved countless lives by shooting the bad guy.
Hmm.
It's ridiculous. Uh, it is it is so politicized. They're like, well, we don't want the Wild West. Well, the Wild West was not the Wild West. Um, the what you see on TV and what people think when they think the Wild West, people going into saloons and shooting the place up and firing their gun. There were a lot of cities that had um, no carry laws. Tombstone, Arizona. Hey Patrick, how's it
Hey,
going?
Patrick. He's back.
He's been going into conventions and
Yep.
stuff. Um, but yeah, it is just amazing. If you have to fire your firearm, if you shoot in self defense in the United States, you you need to be prepared to lose everything because you're probably, I don't know about up here. We have some pretty good sheriffs and stuff, but and some pretty good prosecutors that are understand the way life is supposed to work in the Constitution. But you could lose everything just trying to pay for your defense and stay out of jail for defending your own life. And
That's insane when you think about it because you're supposed to be allowed, like in the States, if you're allowed to have a gun, but you're not allowed to use it, what's the point of having a gun?
right.
You might as
And
well put them like, no ammunition in them, like
yeah. Oh,
gun
it,
only.
um they the New York Safe Act, which is not safe at all, restricted it. Part of it restricted us to 7-round magazines or 8-round magazines. Very few firearms actually have 7-round magazines, pistols and stuff. Most defensive handguns, like a Glock, will hold 16 to 18 rounds. They don't make the magazines for that. So that was shot down in the courts. But they call a person who only takes one magazine to a gunfight. They call him an optimist, and usually the loser. Um, I would I can't imagine being I my gun takes 7 in the magazine and 1 in the chamber, and it's then I carry 2. I used to carry a Leatherman in one pouch and a magazine in the other, but now I carry 2 magazines. Um, just you never know how many you're going to need. Told the sheriff I was going to put electric fence around the whole project. Yeah. Yep. But won't help in winter. Yeah, that's kind of hard. I did find I was watching. It came up on the things that come up on my Facebook page are the advertisements are just bewildering. What people must think of me. Um, they're not booby traps. They are alerts, and what they are is they're a little thing you strap to a tree. You pull the pin, or you pull this rod out. Oh, Kitty, you farted. I'm sorry, bud. Wow. Sorry. Hold on. I got to turn the fan on. Wow. That was bad, cat. But you pull this little rod down and you put a pin in it, and then you run your wire, and then they've got these little 12 gauge shells that just have powder in them in the wad. And you slide that in there, it clips right in there. And when somebody walks along, they will hit the wire and that shot will go off. Now it will scare them. Hi, Evans.
I
Uh, but it apparently is legal. We learned how to make booby traps out of shotgun shells, and that you'd have to step on. I'm glad I don't, yet I have to defend my property. Yeah. Um, but yeah, you can. I don't know what to tell you. It's crazy when you are at the mercy of people that are just out to do you harm. Up here, we have been stealing, talking about campers stealing gas. Yeah. Um, yeah. Because what's going to happen? They're gonna take them to court and give them an appearance ticket and send them on their way. In New York City, if you get caught with a gun, now if I got caught with a gun, I would go to jail for probably ever in New York City, just because I'm a law abiding citizen. But these these people are uh, they're committing felonies with firearms, threatening people, and
they get a slap on the hand.
yeah, they get a slap on the hand. Oh, Darren's in here.
Is he?
Well,
He's in the chat.
it says Darren said those triple arms are nice. Oh, he's got pictures. They got Patrick sent pictures of them. That's exactly the thing I was talking about. Let me see if I can hold it up here.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And that little pin right there is where the wire hooks to, and yeah, those are nice. Ooh, Darren's drying some food. I love that backyard medicine book. That's one of my favorites. That and the Homesteaders. The back. Let's see. There's backyard medicine, and then there's a one by Amy Fuel. But yeah, there's so much Well, welcome. Welcome to the channel. I hope you enjoy it. We've got all sorts. Rem's from Rem's Family Farm is here. Um, and everyone in the
in the
I
chat.
think in the chat is pretty much we're homesteaders on YouTube. And uh, feel
Yep, we
free
all
to
have channels.
yeah, we all have channels. Check them out, and you'll learn a lot. I tell you, I learn a lot from these guys. Um,
Let's see.
but yeah, that it does make it hard when you can't uh defend yourself against some of this stuff, and then you don't have the money to defend yourself. It caught the judicial system. I mean, you get a court appointed attorney, you might get a grade A attorney, but if you're pro bono, he's not going to work on it. My nephew has got an attorney that seems to be working with the prosecutor to put him away. And then Evan's Family Adventure, we just put up his Remy just put up his channel. So guys, check him out. Show him some love. And then there's Patrick's. Yeah, this is a nice little community of homesteaders and um, uh, homesteaders, farmers, and we're at all different levels. I mean, um, Remy works a full-time job and homesteads, um, and farms with animals, and uh, Melissa's doing it. I think Melissa's full-time too, isn't she? I think.
I don't
But
remember.
I've been doing it for a while, um, and it's just an amazing group of people. It really is. That the inspiration you get from the encouragement is just phenomenal. Um, oh, I think it's done raining.
Oh yeah.
It was just a light. It rained pretty good for a little while, but then it went down to a light sprinkle. It was enough. I ended up going to town. I had to get. Well, I'm gonna wait. We've got the Woodsman's Field Days coming in Boonville, and that's going to be fun. They've got. I don't think I'll make it to all of the events, but it's the female the Lumberjill Championship competition. The for the United States.
Cool.
And then it's the semifinals for the lumberjack competition. And then they have like horse pulls and all everything to deal with logging and stuff like that. So what we do, like today, I went and I priced the oil and the hydraulic fluid and stuff like that I need for my tractor. But then I won't get it until I'll go to the Woodsman's, and a lot of times you can find some really good deals. Oh yes, Lumberjills. The only thing is when you got to remember, yes, they are sexy, and yes, they are lean and mean, and they know how to use an axe. And some of those axes, man, they were showing they've got axes that are sharper than any knife I have ever owned. They show them taking these axes and cutting paper. It is just amazing. But yeah, they got the pole climbing and all sorts of cool stuff. And and they usually have some really good deals. That's where um, so big axe. Yeah, um, I like axes. I mistreat them something horrible, but did you know it is against axe etiquette, I guess you would say, to to put someone's axe in the ground, like to chop a root with an axe or something, to put it in the ground. It is a no no. Um, which I don't know why you would do that, um, but yeah, because axes were quite important. Yeah, it is fun. And it's got a fair like atmosphere. There are some rides, but then you have the big dealerships. CJ Logging Supply um, is a big one, but they've got skidders there and all the big Temcos that'll they, it's like a track hoe, but it grips onto the tree and then cuts the tree and then turns sideways and limbs the tree. It's craziness the things they've got. Um, but yeah, we're a big logging community. They used to the Moose River and the black some on the Black River. They used to float the logs down from the logging camps down the river. My grandfather actually was one of the guys who would bust up the dams, I believe. Trevor, if you're on here hiding in the background, um, go over to your computer and correct me if I'm wrong. I know you love that. But I think my grandfather was one of the guys who walked on the logs as they were floating on the water, and if there was a jam, he would he would have to blow it with dynamite. I developed love for making hand. That is something that I would like to learn to do. I've got um, birch trees all over, and I think they make a decent handle. I've also got hard maple and stuff like that. I would like to learn the proper way to pick out a the right uh, piece of wood to make a handle, and then how to build, because some of the curves in an axe handle are actually necessary to make things to give it strength.
Hmm.
Um,
The little whip.
yeah. Um, but yeah, I think I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I do need to water. Well, no, it rained. I don't have to water the greenhouse plants, or actually, I water the weeds and hope that the weeds share some of the water with the plants.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I do here too.
Um, I think it was Marty Lynn when one of my videos she had commented. She said, "It's going to be a jungle in there. It's a jungle." And you can tell the tomato plants because there are tomatoes on them. Thank God, the ones that didn't um, die
And
on me. But hickory, yeah, I don't have any hickory trees around here. Um, but oh, but yeah, uh, yeah. I think I'm going to go ahead and call this one. It has been fun. Um, I've really enjoyed tonight. Um, and keep looking out. Remember, check into everybody here has got a channel, and maple. Good. I've got a lot of maple. I got hard and soft maple. It's just picking out the right one, um, because you don't want any knots in it or anything. Um, but because I've got a couple old axe heads, but all right, guys, I'll catch you later.
here, guys.
You guys have a great week and keep Keep watching them videos. We hit 500. Thank you to everyone who made that happen.
You're at 505 right now.
Oh, I went up another one.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I went to 505, then I went down to 503, and now I think I'm reading it at 504.
I reached 2100, and now I'm down to 2097.
Oh wow. They'll come back. They'll realize what they're missing. A lot of it, YouTube likes to play those games. They're trying to make sure it's not bots and stuff, and you want the organic growth. You know, because without, like, Trevor is subscribed to me, which I'm amazed he hasn't thrown something through his TV yet. Watching some of the, because if there is a way that he would do something for some, I have the innate ability to pick the exact opposite way to do it and do it totally different than what he would do.
Okay.
All right. So we will talk to y'all later. Y'all have a great week. Stay safe, and keep that harvest going. All right. Y'all have a great day. God
Take care.
bless.